What up, friends? Your favorite rookie here, and today I'm going to be reviewing P1Harmony's debut mini-album, Disharmony. This is the first project by the 2020 K-pop boy group rookies, P1Harmony. This group is pretty interesting. They definitely do have those trap rap bangers that a lot of their contemporaries have as well. However, they also have a lot of fun, weird, and just out there sounds that nobody is really doing in their little scene at the moment. The songs overall tend to have a bit of a harder edge to them. However, there's a lot of thrilling and almost even experimental little bits and pieces of the tracks that the contemporaries lack. This is still K-pop, of course, so it's not going to end up being super experimental or anything like that, although I do appreciate their variety and their willingness to try something different. The mini-album starts with the intro track, Breakthrough, and we struck gold here, folks. An intro track that actually adds to the experience of the album. You know what you're getting into immediately with the shouted vocals at the beginning, along with the sort of guitar groove that glides over the trap beat in the background. The intro captures the darker and heavier instrumentals, and also the lighter and delicate moments of the mini-album as well. It really does encompass pretty much everything that you're going to experience on the project. I also really appreciate the darker lyrics as well, talking about pushing through pain even if it's difficult to try to essentially feel better at the end, deal with your problems, if you will. I like it when K-pop gets a little more serious. Siren is the main attraction, the big single, and what a single it is. This song is just sick. That dark electro beat is a fantastic opener, and the use of space that highlights the vocals and the haunting synth sample, it's fantastic. The background vocals are very driving, and everyone in the group just has a very confident air around them. I also really like how the chorus is sort of tied to the verses, as the instrumental is very similar, although it's a bit more enforced and strong compared to the verses. I like how it's not completely different. In other words, there is no jarring transition between verse and chorus to be found. It's weird how such an upbeat song can almost have a bit of a melancholy touch to it, and this track actually does just that. I think this is also expressed in the lyrics with them talking about how they've been kind of beaten down, yet also still are attempting to rise up and make a name for themselves. It kind of feels like their experiences in trying to become a K-pop star. You know, people might tell them it's not worth it, you can't do it, and they just try to do it anyway and see what happens. So I think that's cool. Nemonade is the next track on the mini-album, and that raw slap bass catches you by surprise, man. I was not expecting that. There's such a swagger to the overall beat and flow, it's just infectious. The guitar in the background adds some great texture, and I love the mix between the harsher vocals and the softer vocals on this one too. Jiyoung especially does a great job in providing that lighter touch to kind of balance out the attitude of the track. The brass and sound effects that are added near the end are a pretty slick touch that just make the song even more fun to listen to. There seems to be always something that you can come back to in this track. That's It is definitely more trap focused than the other songs on the mini album, but holy shit, this beat goes hard. That distorted brass sample, it sounds like something that I'd hear in an Injury Reserve song, not a K-pop song. The flows are also super fun and just exude confidence. I also think the English lines are delivered pretty well here. They flow really nicely along with the Korean ones. I like that sort of mesh where one doesn't stand out as being obviously better than the other. There's also a super simplistic yet interesting bridge, and that outro is hype as hell. I also love how the lyrics are also filled with confidence, especially when Kiho is going his own way with two Great Danes and staying humble like Bill Murray. The last actual track on the mini-album is Butterfly, a defining sad boy anthem, if you will. The slow and muffled beat over some piano chords are kind of a match made in heaven these days. A lot of artists are doing something like this, although I do love the energy coming from the boys and the brief moment of light in that guitar that comes in during the chorus. It definitely nails its vibe, and of all those sort of slower album enders, I think this one has a sort of unique presence to it. There's also some pretty real lyrics about how society kind of doesn't want people to operate on their own path. They want them to be more robotic in nature, kind of the cookie cutter job experience, and how the boys are trying to defy that. I like that sort of going against the grain type of K-pop song. Those are always fun. The album ends on a skit, of all things. Didn't see that coming, and it's an interesting choice. I'm not necessarily going to add or subtract points for it just because I feel like it's not really for me because I don't speak Korean, so the idea of ending on a skit, though, is pretty entertaining, at least. Now, I gotta say, this might be one of the best debut mini-albums that I've heard in quite a while. They definitely have their own sound with the sort of moody, gritty, and oftentimes out there instrumentation. There's honestly not much I can really find wrong with this mini-album, to be honest. The only thing I can really hope for is to keep this up, keep that quality going, and hopefully they can make a full album full of charismatic bangers just like they did here. I am feeling a strong 8 on P1Harmony's debut mini-album. Bravo. Bravo. Now, of course, we do have to talk about the album cover on this show, and I think this album cover is pretty cool. It definitely captures the grittiness and sort of edginess of the mini-album with the sort of CD being smashed. I think the color combination of black, white, and red was very good. I guess you could argue that it might be a little bit cliche in its imagery, but I think the overall design aspect of it was pretty tasteful, all things considered, and I thought it was pretty alright. So, what did you all think about this mini-album? Did you love it? Did P1Harmony kind of capture your attention? Maybe they're going to be Rookie of 2020? I don't know if they already judged on that, but if they did, what were they your Rookies of 2020? Let me know. And until the next one, farewell.